Hello, Gary Hernandez here, and welcome to King Self-Defense with Master Gary Hernandez. This video is all about footwork. I've had people tell me, Gary, I don't run as fast as I used to run. I can't go the distance. I just can't move left or right that fast anymore. I got a bad knee, my hips hurt, the joints hurt. So, can I still do the King Self-Defense? And yeah, you can. You can definitely do it. You can do it from even sitting in a chair. We've done videos on that. But I want to show you some things you can do to help you with your footwork a little bit to practice. Now, from here, if you want to, you have to understand, so when someone's attacking you, it's not from long distance. They're pretty much going to be coming in close. They're either going to surprise you or they're going to be a step or two away from you. Because let's say I know you are the attacker. All right, this is how far I am away from the camera. The camera is where the attacker is. Now I'm just going to move forward as though you were coming toward me. And I'm sitting here going, this guy's rushing me. He's coming at me. He doesn't look happy. I have time to do something. I have time to get out of there. Now, let's say I'm going to try to hit this guy because I realize I have to for some unknown reason. Well, if I start doing this, by the time I get there, he's either done the same thing. He's ready for me, he's moved, or he left or something. So basically, most of the times, it's going to be somebody that takes one or even two steps towards you because they've gotten that close, or they caught you totally off guard. So what you can do if you have bad legs, but you can still, now if you can't maneuver at all, yes, then you're going to have some problems and there's other things we're going to have to do. But if you have, when your knees are hurting, legs are hurting, you don't have to run a marathon. From here, you're simply going to go, if you can do 1, 2, just like that. And I'll show you with this guy. I need to be able to go 1, 2, and strike. I need to be able, if he's on top of me, to back up 1, 2, and strike. You got to remember, you're only going to be able to defend yourself from the distance of your cane. From here, there's no use. So you have to understand, to get to this distance, that means this attacker is trying to get to me. If he's open-handed and has nothing in his hands, and I'm trying to stop him, even if he has a knife, I want to use distance. So basically, if he's close to me and I need to back up, it's just 1, 2. If I want to close the gap and stop him, it's just 1, 2. It's a 2-step maneuver. I'm not going to go and dance all over him. I mean, I can, but that may not happen. So, and I'm getting older. So it's a 1-2 maneuver. So what you can work on, and let's talk about that footwork. We're going to talk about footwork and pivoting. Those things are going to help you. Again, if you can go 1, 2 and swing, then back up. 1, 2 and swing. That hand always comes up. So that's showing you have the ability to take steps forward or backwards, and not very quickly at that. I want to get off center line. It's just 1, 2 and swing. If I want to go to the right, 1, 2 and swing. This guy's here. He's throwing a punch. I may redirect it to a lower level. 1, 2 and I hit. Throws his left hand. I may simply step out of the way. It's a 1, 2. Now, let's say he's thrusting a knife or something, and I want to get away from him. It's simply a diagonal 1, 2. No matter which direction. I can even go forward, and I can maneuver forward. Now, if you notice, the 1, 2 step is really what you want to work on. You're moving forward, and you're swinging. You're moving backwards, and you're swinging. You're moving to your left, and you're swinging. You're moving to your right, and you're swinging. You're moving diagonally to your left, and you're swinging. And the same thing to your right, and you're swinging. You're going backwards, 1, 2, and you're swinging. And then you're going backwards to your right, 1, 2. So You're able to go up and down, cross, and diagonal. Now, let's talk about foot pivoting. Now, right now, I'm wearing some sneakers that are, I should have worn them on the mat because they really grip. These are outdoor sports sneakers, so they lock in pretty good when I'm hiking or something. But I decided to shoot this video, so here we are. But still, let's say I want to get more of a torque with my hips, but my hips hurt a little bit. Well, I'm going to pivot then. So from here, if I step 1, 2, I have that motion, but if I pivot, I have more of a motion. So what I mean by pivot is whatever, you simply slide your feet at an angle. If I step forward, I can pivot. That allows me to get more of a torque. If I step backwards, I can pivot. Obviously, if I want to go this way, I should step with this foot and pivot. Now, you're going to be able to get a torque full body motion. Again, if you're having bad knees, ankles, you're not going to do a lot of stepping. A simple 1, 2, pivot, and hip and shoulder drive. Now, let's say I have a brace on my knee, and it hurts to pivot that leg. Okay, if I have a brace on this knee, and I step and I slide, but I can't pivot while it's on the ground because it hurts while it's on the ground to have that pressure and weight on it, then your step, lift that leg up, and you're going to pivot the back one and then let that align and set down. And once it feels good, you don't have to pivot on the ground. You can step into a pivot as you strike. So if I want to go forward, because he's coming with a punch and I want to get a little bit more power and I want to do that pivot, but I don't want to do it on the ground, I pivot as I step. So I step into a pivot turn. So it's not a lot of hip torque to give me a hurt hip. It's not my weight bearing down on my ankles and my knee to where I'm pivoting all my weight. When I step and lift up, boom. Now, if that let's say that leg is locked, right? And you can't bend that knee, because some people can't. That leg is locked. That is got such a brace or that injury doesn't allow it. So when you're going to use one leg to pivot, and I don't care if it's robotically or whatever, that leg comes up and that leg sits down. What happens is you need to practice the footwork so it becomes more natural. Again, I would, consult your physician and make sure that you're able to do these things. I am not a doctor, nor do I play one on TV, so I can't give you that kind of advice. I can show you ways to help you, but I would suggest talking to a professional doctor on what your physical needs are. But again, from here, I simply, and I pivot. And I pivot. So you don't have to run fast. You don't have to run far. You don't need to do that. You just need to be able to take a step 2 to your right, a step 2 to your left, angled in all 4 directions, forward if you want to stop them, or backwards if they're on top of you. Because you can do those techniques. Go back, pivot, and bayonet strike. You can go sideways, pivot, and swing. You can step in and rifle strike. So practice the blocks and practice your strikes by simply a 1-2 maneuver. A 1-2 maneuver, like a dance. Okay? Because not all attacks are 30 feet away. Actually, unless they're shooting you with a rifle or a gun. Anything hands-on, they've got to get close. And what do I mean by close? They either need to be stick close to you, and remember, if they're stick close to you, you're stick close to them, or they need to be able to touch you, stab you, grab you, which means you can step back and use your cane. You are only going to be able to strike them as long as that cane is in a certain distance. Again, if you're here, you're too far, it's not good. A simple step slide and you're in close. So practice that footwork, practice that pivoting on the ground, and practice that stepping into a pivoting. And if you have a bad leg, and that one's bad, don't try to lift and go this way. Lift, take the good leg, step out, and then bring the bad one with you. So if that's locked in, and then pivot and set it down. So hopefully that technique helps. Practice them. As I always say, make them your own. Gary Hernandez, thank you very much, and I will see you guys very soon. Have a good weekend.